Hey guys, B Twice here. Today is Monday, August 16th. I do not have a lot of time, wasn't able to do any charting today, but I had a question about where I see SPY going now that we had the price action that we saw today. So I'm going to quickly kind of go over, I add some arrows to my drawing that I showed over the weekend because I probably went over that really quickly as it was the end of my charting session and I was running out of time. So we're going to start by looking at SPY. Where do I see this going? Well, it's going to be choppy. We're in the distribution phase of the market, so we are topping, but this can go on for a while. This could go sideways. It could consolidate for a little bit. It could drag out. But we're going to be in for some decent sized drops, and I would expect them to kind of get bought up like we saw today. But what are we seeing? So we're still bullish above 436. And what I'm seeing is that we're finishing off a five-wave impulse to finish off a wave five of a wave three. And after we hit that top of that wave three, we're going to be seeing a pretty significant drop. It could take us all the way down to 400 or somewhere in that ballpark. So we could be getting a 10% haircut off of SPY, maybe even a little bit more depending on where we top. So what am I seeing? So we dipped down a little bit today. The dip got bought up, and where are we going? Well, now we're above this first trend line that I was talking about yesterday that we wanted to be careful around. Obviously, we saw a sell-off right at that trend line, but ultimately on significant volume, we got bought up above it. So now where are we going? Well, I expect we're going to go to this dotted red trend line, so probably 450 or 449, somewhere in that ballpark. From there, we're probably going to see more chop that's going to take us down to either this trend line as support after that, or we might break a little bit below it. But I expect that dip to get bought up as well, and then ultimately I think we're going to be making a push to this upper trend line. I think the top is going to be at this solid red trend line. Now, mind you, I keep saying you want to be careful up here because we could top at any time. Nobody knows for sure when the bottom could come out. What's going to be the thing that sends it? Could it be um, this Friday? Could it be the Fed minutes that will be released Wednesday? Nobody knows. Or could it be 2 months from now? Could we consolidate along this trend line for 2 months before ultimately breaking to the upside and then going down, or breaking to the downside? I mean, nobody knows for sure. But what I think is the most, or the highest probability chance, is that we go up and we test this trend line, get rejected, come back down, and then ultimately I think we're going to break above it. And I think we're going to get rejected somewhere around SPY 460. When will that happen? I don't know. But we want to be careful up here, and risk appropriately. Make sure you're buying dips. I wouldn't be, buying rallies. I would wait till it pulls back a little bit, because there still should be another spot where it comes down to get in if I was really trying to get into SPY. So that's what I see on SPY. Let's quickly go over QQQ. Okay. So we're going to quickly go over QQQ. I drew some arrows on here of where I think it's going to go. I think we're going to push a little bit higher because I feel like we're in a wave three right now. So I feel like we're going to push up, probably touch this upper trend line. So maybe 375, maybe a little bit less. But I think we're going to go up and hit it. We'll get rejected. We'll pull back, and then ultimately we'll have one more rally up. But how high QQQ goes is going to really depend because it was lagging SPY today. So if SPY goes up 1 more% before it pulls back, QQQ really needs a percent and a half or a little bit more than that if it wants to really get up to this 374-ish range. So with that being said, I still do think that we'll kind of push a little bit higher. I think FANG's probably going to lead the way. We saw some strength out of Facebook and Apple today and Google. I think that we'll continue to see that. I do think like names like Roku, CrowdStrike, I do think we'll see a rally out of those as well. They're extremely beat up. They're near trend line support, and they're in an area where, based on wave theory, we should be expecting at least a three swing to the upside. So whether it's bottomed or not, you should be at least able to see an ABC move to the upside from where they currently stand. So with that being said, I think we're going to see a rally out of tech, even though it was kind of lagging a little bit today. I do still think that we'll see some strength out of tech and IWM that may be a little bit stronger than what we saw today, as we get through this topping. But I do think we'll kind of go up. We'll have a slight pullback, and then ultimately we'll have one more rally to the top, and then we'll find our peak somewhere. Maybe it's at 380, maybe it's a little less. It really just depends if QQQ can get going. But with that being said, same thing as SPY. You want to be smart up here. Cash will be king when we drop. You want to make sure you're hedging appropriately. You don't want to end up, getting caught with your pants down when this thing does top, because it's going to happen when nobody expects it. And that's why, like I said in a comment a minute ago, that trend line scenario may may be almost too perfect. It may not actually happen like that because a lot of people are watching those trend lines. So be aware of that. That normally when these tops happen, they happen very, very fast, and you want to be paying attention to all of the outlying market conditions and anything that you could potentially be watching to help you know when that's going to happen. So be careful up here at these levels, guys, but ultimately the melt up should continue, and I still do think that the Qs should get to the mid 370s at the very least, if not 380, and I think SPY has a chance to go, 450 plus, maybe even touch 460 before we top. So we still should see some upside up here. I don't think the bottom's going to fall out tomorrow, but it could be soon. It could be within the next month. Maybe it's October, maybe it's September, maybe somehow this consolidation it gets drawn out for a while and it doesn't happen until November. It's anybody's guess. I just don't think it's going to get drawn out that long. I think we'll have our answer sometime by mid-September of where we stand with this. So, all right, guys, if you like these videos, go ahead, hit like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.